All right, welcome to This Learning with Loden. We're excited. You can tell Dr. Kopp and I are excited to have you be with us today. And today we're going to cover two different areas. Our voters have been very kind to the schools and very supportive of the schools. And Doc, just a couple years ago, our voters approved overwhelmingly a bond for us. Mm-hmm. And we want to make sure that you have some updates on it. And also with just our local dollars that we have from our taxpayers, we have other things that are going on too. So what are some of the big projects that we've been working on that our community may be aware of, or that we can update them?
Yeah. Well, if we go back to the start of April 2023, if you remember, Doc, we were able to get two of our sort of projects that focused on traffic, and that was SB and JTSD. And so we started with SB, and we were able to provide a drive for that area just to relieve some congestion and provide an opportunity for more cars.
That has really impacted traffic on, out by SB too.
It's been very, very supportive. And then JTSD as well. We were able to build a road that was able to pull some traffic away from some of the local neighbors, and that's helped out as well. So that was one thing that we've accomplished. Also, we were able to start our High Point edition, and so we are moving right along with that. We are hoping to have that wrapped up this spring, and right now what's exciting is that particular edition is going to have a FEMA structure that will serve both High Point and Summit in the event of a storm, and so I know those two places are very excited about that.
Dr. Kopp, I'm glad you mentioned that. We're adding on at High Point, and one thing I'd like to share is we've been using a firm for over 20 years that runs our numbers for us, projects our growth, and we asked them something that we haven't asked before, but if you would take every plot of land that we have in Stone County, Christian County, Greene County, and in the city, the way it's zoned now with the current regs, if everyone would sell their land and it was developed with homes, how many children we'd have, and we know that. And with the model that we have, we technically do not have to build another elementary school or junior high or high school. So over the next few generations, you will see, like at High Point, we're adding on at High Point. We have the ability to add on our elementary schools and even at the high school and the junior high, and to accommodate the growth for the future. Yep. So with our next bond, our plan is already to add on at Matthews, and we know that the city's working on some water infrastructure, and once they have that, they'll have a lot of homes being built on that side of town. So between the High Point edition and then with our next bond, the Matthews edition, we should be able to handle a lot of the growth at the elementaries over the next 10 years.
In a cost savings kind of way. Yes. So it is really a smart way to do that. The thing I think I love most about this particular bond season, Doc, and so thankful for the community, and they voted yes, is how we're able to touch every single building. Every single building has had some kind of renovation or benefit from these bond dollars. When you think about all the smart boards that we were able to put in for all of the elementaries, that's been a huge help. We've been able to do flooring, HVAC, small renovations at every single school, and that makes a huge difference, just keeping our buildings safe and also efficient and the best learning environments possible for our students.
Doc, can I ask you one question? Why haven't we given raises to our employees with bond dollars?
Because we can't.
It's illegal.
It's illegal. That's right.
Okay, now that's one thing I wanted to get on the record, because at times people be like, "Well, we're giving teachers raises, we're giving our employees raises," but technically the state has provided dollars for raises for state employees, but they don't consider the teachers state employees. So the raises we give are from local dollars and our taxpayers, and we appreciate that. But with the bond dollars, the way they're regulated, we have to use them for infrastructure. And when we go out on a campaign, we're talking about adding on at High Point. We're talking about renovating the old theater at the junior high. So we'll have more than just the ATOS, because as we get bigger, we're going to need more than just the ATOS or the Apex, which is the new multi-purpose facility at the high school. But a lot of the things we're doing are air conditioning, heating, cooling systems, roofing systems. It's going in and adding the smart boards for the teachers. Lots of times it's painting if we need library carpet. Just lots of infrastructure things, because our buildings are getting older. And just like a home, if you think about the schools, all of our schools are over 20 years of age. The new high school is well over 20 years of age. And as they get older, the only difference is like when I had to replace my air conditioning, I was complaining because it was like $12,000 before COVID. Now it'd be over 20. But how much does a new boiler for the high school cost?
hundreds of thousands of dollars. Yeah,
I think we were quoted a new one for $300,000. That's not air conditioning. That's just the boiler. So the prices are a little different. But our taxpayers have taken care of us, and we're trying to be great stewards and make sure that we're balancing, taking care of the daily needs that we have in our schools, and then also the growth. And one thing, just like our homeowners, the inflation has just been insane. And our last bond that we passed, where we built the ATOS, we were very blessed that we were able to pass it before COVID, and we were able to come in within budget. And this bond, we've had great numbers, and we've actually been able to add more value than we promised, and very pleased with that. But I know we have the big project at the high school. Could you talk about it for a minute?
Yes. So we are in the process of building a multi-purpose facility space called the Apex, and that space will serve multiple groups, various activities from the band to football to track to community groups. I mean, you name it, that space is going to be used. And really, a first of its kind, I think, for the state of Missouri, in that we were able to make it big enough for all of those groups. Because in order for our marching band to use it, we needed 100 yards of space. And through the process of really looking at what we could afford, discussions with the school board, we felt like this is very, very much a need, so that we can use it for many, many groups, including intramurals, Doc. I mean, this space is going to open up so many opportunities for maybe your students that there's only so many kids that can make the basketball team and the volleyball team and the football team. So what other activities could we do in that space to support all students?
And that's one goal that we have that we've been working on behind the scenes, and I wish we probably should have shared the vision more, but we know that the high school, the way it's designed and the way we can add on in the future, could go up to about 3,500 kids, and we know that our district will max out at that. Well, as we get larger, we were landlocked, and we were blessed enough that the landowner next to us sold us the land, and now we have carefully laid it out with our architects, envisioning everything you could imagine you would need for a larger high school. So the Apex, even though you're going to look at it and say that's a big building, and it didn't have to be that big, it really does if we're going to have the facilities designed to maximize our potential for the future for the capacity. And inside it, we're going to have a community room so we can actually have some of our one Nixa classes during the day and that's community classes that we have during the day instead of having to wait to after hours. We'll have in there concession stands already built, a lobby. We can have over 100 people at meetings in the building. And then we'll have an upstairs that has a couple classrooms, and we'll have not a running track, but a walking track on the turf around it, where if we ever want to move some of our PE classes or ROTC there, we can. And we'll have an area where you can have simulators and stuff for golf and other things. It's just really wide open, and we have flex dressing rooms, so like during baseball and softball season, baseball and softball can use it. During other seasons, other teams can use it, because I didn't realize, but we had teams that didn't have their own dressing rooms or locker rooms. They were just having to go to different places and change. So now we'll have enough with our old field house being painted and made a little better than the new, and we'll have enough room for all of our children to be able to have a locker room to change in.
It's really amazing, Doc, as we dive into some of our older buildings, how we see, wow, if we would have just done this maybe differently 20 years ago, it really would have helped us now. And so to be forward thinking with our spaces is so important as we think about the future and think about long range planning. And this particular space, I think, is going to serve many, many kids.
And I'm not saying 20 or 30 years from now, someone might say, who is the superintendent? If I'm drinking Ensure and wearing Depends, I'll say, well, I don't even know what Nixa is by that time. But when you look at it, we are being very careful and relying on the architects and thinking about what all would you need. And we've gone to a place of over 3,300 children in grades 10 through 12 and looked at their facilities and tried to get an idea as far as what all will you need in the future. And that has been a wonderful project for us, and it's going to set the stage for the high school to continue to be one high school. And two, when we first arrived, we were told an elementary school cost in the 35 million range. Now they're over 70. A high school was over 110 to 130. Now we've been told a big high school will be about 300 million. We don't want to pass the bond that big. We just don't have the capacity. Doc, we've had some things that people are not seeing probably, but we've renovated our library, career center, made a career center to high school. Could you share a little of that with us?
Yeah, it's been really neat to see that space become a little bit more modern, a little bit more sort of with the times when it comes to how the students can use that space. I know from an innovation point of view, Doc, and you could probably speak to that even better than me, I know we've added some things that are really going to help our students as they're looking for careers, and not just careers of today, but the careers of tomorrow as well.
I would say that this has been a long-term vision of ours, and Tom, who makes our videos, will have videos that will be more in detail, and you'll be able to see the different things that we have. But when you look at our community, we're not a community that's going to have a big CTE, technical center of all the equipment. And economic development is really driven by your community colleges. That's where all children, whether they're in Nixa or a small community around us, they can go to have all the equipment. But how do you expose children to careers? And we have a lot of different software programs in one system where you can put on the goggles, the virtual reality goggles, and you can physically turn wrenches. You can be in a hospital room assisting on a surgery, and we have a variety of careers that you can explore there. And then we're the only school in Missouri, we have SkillSoft, which is used by 70% of the Fortune 1000 companies. So if I'm at a big company and I want all my staff to be trained on customer service, or if I want my people to be trained on Microsoft or Google, there's all these micro credentials you can earn. And we've had last year, I believe, close to 1,000 credentials in our first year, and we're well over 700
That's
right
awesome.
now. And
That's
our
great.
children are earning credentials that are not Nixon saying this child is ready and we're giving them a stamp, but they're earning certified micro credentials. And then on top of that, which is a lot harder, we have real credentials where, especially in the tech field, AWS, CompTIA, our children can go through the classes, and virtually they have some of the best tech people doing the training and remediation. And then we have a Pearson View Center that's just opening up where they can take their certifications. And if a child has a CompTIA certification 1, 2, and 3, leaving high school, they can make 120 to 150,000, and with AWS, you're going to make about 70 to 80,000. So they can literally work in Nixa, work from home, and make a 6-figure salary.
Wow.
And two, for our community, if you're like in nursing school and you need to take your certification exam, once we get everything worked out in the next few months, you'll be able to, instead of having to go to Springfield, you could take the test at Nixa High School. So it's a good way to give back to a community. And then, Doc, the last thing, sometimes we like to think about crazy things, but our high school kids in the medical sciences, they get to go once a year to college and they get to see a cadaver. But they just get to see it. They don't get to, put their hands on it and play with it. Well, the big thinking and crazy thinking was, how can we get a cadaver? And we know we're not going to have a cadaver, but what can we get? Well, it's a dissecting table that usually is used at colleges or medical schools that our children are using right now in our science classes. It has the medical type sciences, but also has some biology and physical science. And it is so neat because now our teacher can use the table and stand it up, and you can see real humans. There's 4 real humans that die from different things. You can see all of them. If someone has an MRI or X-ray they want to load up, we can load it up. And then the best part is, instead of all the children having to go around the table, they have iPads in pairs, and they can be looking and working and identifying. Like, if I want to look at a bone, I can click on it and see what it looks under a microscope.
That is so cool.
It's amazing. And we're doing that because if you think about our community, we have a lot of tech jobs around our community. We have a big healthcare industry around our community, and we have a lot of children that want to do things, but if they don't ever experience it, we don't want to go to college and think, I want to be in tech, and then they don't like it. But if we can do this now and they can see if it's one of their passions and desires, and that would be a career they'd like, we're trying to set the stage where if they want to go to OTCS or go CAPS, yes, or MSU online for dual credit, but also you can stay at Nixa High and still play ball, be in band, choir, and theater, and not leave campus and be exposed to other things.
It's access and opportunity. Are we giving our students that to better prepare them for future, for college, for career, for life?
And I'm glad
those
you
are
said
great
that,
ways.
The days of old in my generation, it was a college or a career, but with the level of education you have to have for the military or for career today, you have to be capable of going to college. That doesn't mean you have to go to college, but if you're not reading on a college grade level, the military is not going to take you. And in the careers that we have with the high-tech sciences and all, you have to have a really good brain power. You may not be running calculus with a calculator, but you're running a lot of stats and algorithms and formulas when you're coding and all. So we're excited about what we're offering. What else on the buildings and grounds are we missing, Doc?
some of the smaller things that we've done, but that have we've had an outdated space that we've lifted, or maybe we've turned a space into more innovative. I think about the fax lab at the junior high. That was more of a Brady Bunch style kitchen that we were able to really bring up to date, and I know the students and our fax teacher there are so thrilled to have that. And then journalism at the high school, they really have a state of the art. I think we could bring in journalists today and move them into our high school classroom, and they would be so impressed. It's just really phenomenal what our students are able to do through journalism, and even as we're doing this podcast, I think they've begun doing podcasts there as well.
Podcasts. So, and I'm glad you pointed that out, because with Nick's Alive, and then with journalism, and then the other programs that we have, it's either bond dollars or maybe like grants. NEF is providing grants, and then district dollars. But you put it all together, and we're able to do lots of things. I mean, our Nick's Alive students, they're going on to college. And now with the HOs, we have a lot of our students that are working behind the scenes in stagecraft and running the equipment, that when they apply, they have a competitive advantage, and they're receiving scholarships to go to the next level. And I think the one thing I like when we had her sign today is they're very practical. I'd like to act and do this, but I'm doing this too, because I may not be on the stage, but I still want to be around it. I can make a living.
Yeah.
Well, I believe that's going to wrap us up for the day. Doc, can you think of anything else before we wrap up?
Well, just a shout out to our partner Sodexo as well, and their maintenance department. There are a lot of projects that we don't have to subcontract out, because we have great people in-house that are able to do smaller things, and it really does make a big difference during different breaks like Christmas break, spring break, summertime, where we're able to do painting or even little small renovations that they can handle, and it's very appreciated.
I'm glad you pointed out Sodexo. I want to throw this out too. Even though we've added a lot of square footage the last few years, our utilities have trended lower, and part of that is they're not giving us fancy systems to buy that take years to pay for, but they're just giving us lots of little things that we can do and implement with a 3 to 4 year payback that make a big difference. And they're a great partner. And then too, if you're at the high school, you'll notice at times we have an autonomous floor cleaner.
Yes.
And
yeah.
So instead of having the manpower hours of someone driving it, we still have custodians, and they're still all working, but it takes care of a lot of the larger areas. So trying to be innovative, and they're great about being a partner. I'd like to thank you for being here today, and as always, if you have ideas and things you'd like to learn more about that'd be great for a video. The videos, we don't have a script, we just come in and flow with it. You'll hear us like today, we're doing lots of docs back and forth, because behind the scenes, it's Dr. Kopp and Dr. Loden, and we're trying not to edit, just let it be raw, and it may not be perfect, but at least you'll know, you can hear what we're passionate about, the projects that we have, and hopefully have a better understanding of how the district operates, because if you think about it, Doc, we have thousands of meals being served. We have buses everywhere. And on a day, we have children arriving to school, having a great day at school. They get home safely, ball games and activities every night. And no one else, I believe, in our county has over 1,000 employees. So it's a big organization, but we try to run it like a business, but our business is educating children and supporting our teachers. So thanks for being with us again today.